Good afternoon, Blue Jays. Pretty good, but it could be better. Good afternoon, Blue Jays. When I say blue, you say Jay. Blue? Blue? I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm Dr. Jasmine Blanks-Jones. I am the director of the Center for Social Concern here at Johns Hopkins University, and I am so excited to see this amazing first-year class. We've been waiting for y'all. Give yourselves a round of applause. At the Center for Social Concern, our approach is about education, action, and reflection. And our main purpose is to make sure that you all experience a sense of belonging in the city of Baltimore. So I'm very excited today to introduce you to some phenomenal panelists. I will start right away with that. The first panelist who we will have is Tia Misconashore Hamilton. She is a mother, entrepreneur, wait for us, entrepreneur, CEO, producer, journalist, publisher, a prison youth community advocate, a motivational speaker. The list is endless. She is focused and ambition-driven and has more than a plan, she has a mission. What started as a sports-centered Facebook page in 2012 called Uncut Sports Talk has evolved into a multimedia juggernaut, pushing the boundaries while creating opportunity and awareness. The sports page morphed into an online radio station under her leadership, specializing in sports, music, and upcoming artist-driven platforms that garnered first national, then international appeal with over 250,000 listeners and 5 Station of the Year nominations. Tia's next foray into the business world would be widely celebrated and heralded. The State vs. Us magazine, founded in 2017, it was named SVU 2019 Publisher of the Year in Middle River, Maryland. This is a unique and much-needed voice for the often forgotten and maligned incarcerated individuals and their loved ones. From police and prison corruption to law, education, each issue of this magazine's centerpiece is always a triumphant and often epic journey of one who has traveled the path and returned with a message of inspiration. State vs. Us highlights high-profile cases, prison corruption, wrongful convictions, and success stories of formerly incarcerated individuals with mental health, financial literacy, and sports segments. Each volume is archived in the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture and Library in Harlem, New York, and at Johns Hopkins University. While State vs. Us is archived, history is also being made as Tia works to get the stories of the voiceless out to the world by allowing them to control their narrative. Ms. Connoisseur has been responsible for helping 9 men and women get released due to their interviews, and 1 man and woman were granted clemency due to her connections and resources. State vs. Us has featured many well-known participants from all business spectrums that share the common bond of incarceration and survival. Recognizing the need for these voices to be heard from her intimate experiences, Ms. Tia Hamilton has become a lauded and passionate reform speaker from correctional institutions to high schools to some Ivy League halls, such as at Columbia University and Yale University, and we have her today at Johns Hopkins University. She's been profiled on her community efforts and outreach ventures and interviewed on Sirius XM, on New York's #1 Power 101.5, Baltimore's WEAA radio, and countless other platforms about her thriving and inspiring multi-tiered empire. This is an empire that now boasts East Baltimore's only Black-led and woman-owned independent bookstore, which is right around the corner from us, Urban Reads Bookstore. After not getting her magazine in traditional stores, this led to the conception of her venture of the burgeoning empire, which is Urban Reads Bookstore. Ms. Hamilton has set a precedent for entrepreneurial ownership and generational wealth. A lesson in financial education she is now passing on to her son. Focusing not on capitalism, but youth, prison, and community literacy, she has many programs to educate and stimulate the minds of the most valuable resources, the seeds within our community. Urban Reads Bookstore seeks to connect the audience with the author literally, creating meaningful dialogue and excellent examples and seeking to enrich one's mind, adventure, and dream. all at one time. Can we give a round of applause for Ms. Tia Hamilton? We will also have with us Ms. Simone Phillips, an award-winning content creator, influencer, and event curator who takes a storytelling, informative, and fun approach to her Baltimore-based food and events blog, Charm City Table. Baltimore native Simone Phillips is an award-winning content creator, influencer, and event curator who takes all of these really rich and fun Baltimore food-based events and created a platform, Charm City Table, receiving more than 2 million impressions per month. Simone has garnered features on national media outlets, including The Drew Barrymore Show, Apple, NPR, and Vice Media Group's food channel, Munchies. With a passion for using food to unite communities throughout her hometown, Baltimore, Maryland, and beyond, Simone has planned and executed successful digital campaigns and live activations with partners like Uber Eats, Pepsi, Whole Foods Market, the Baltimore Ravens, and Comcast Corporation. In 2022, after noticing a disparity with small, hyper-local food businesses not being able to afford traditional advertising, Simone launched an online dining guide that allows restaurants to advertise and increase their visibility at an affordable rate. A pioneer and visionary, Simone received a certificate of recognition from the Mayor's Office for Community Impact, was awarded Best Foodie 2023 by Baltimore Beat, Best Twitter 2022 by the Baltimore Sun, and Best Instagram 2021 by Baltimore Magazine. She also served as a founding member of the Baltimore Banner's inaugural Creatives in Residence program and currently serves as a community advisory board member for the National Aquarium's Voyages event series, which highlights Baltimore's artists, science, and food scenes to audiences aged 21 plus. In addition to uplifting the greater Baltimore area and the DMV through her exemplary work in food and media, she enjoys spending time with her family and friends, art, and travel. Can we give a round of applause for Ms. Simone Phillips? And finally, we have a distinct honor of having one of our former community engaged faculty fellows, who is now one of the inaugural cohort members of the Engaged Scholarship Community of Practice, Dr. Victoria Harms, who is an associate teaching professor here at Johns Hopkins. Can we give a round of applause for Dr. Harms? And last but certainly not least, one of your own, our student leader from the Center for Social Concerns Engaged Scholarship team, who served as one of our student directors for Engaged Scholarship, public health and econ major, a junior, Hannah Kloss. I'll now turn it over to Hannah and to Dr. Harms to co-moderate this amazing panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Blanks-Jones, for that wonderful introduction. Again, my name is Hannah Kloss, and I'm one of your panelists today. We're joined here by two wonderful panelists, Tia Hamilton, founder of Urban Reads Bookstore, and Simone Phillips, founder of Charm City Table. If you guys could both, again, kind of give your own introductions, as well as a brief overview of your work here in Baltimore City.
Sure. Well, as you all know, I'm a content creator, so I'm mostly on Instagram, TikToks, like social media platforms, and that's where I get to have the most fun, like connecting people to restaurants, food festivals, events, anything food and fun related around the city, sometimes further into the DMV area. And then I work a lot behind the scenes, because when I started this really as a hobby, I noticed that a lot of the small businesses are self-funded. You know, they could be teachers, they could, they have any sort of career, and they're funding their own projects, so they don't always have the resources, the money, even the knowledge to market and put their business out there. So that's when I started consulting and assisting, like the bio said, with advertising, helping them bring fun ideas to life to help, promote their business and get their name out there. And then I do a lot of work like this. I talk to students at the university level, but also at the K through 12 level to help them really develop like a love for the city and love for their communities that they're in, and just develop a greater appreciation for it, because sometimes there's like narratives about Baltimore that can be louder than some of the more positive ones, and like I get to experience the beauty of Baltimore every day, so I want people to like feel that and know that it exists and feel a similar way or find what their own community is.
Hello, guys. I am so excited to be here. Let me hear y'all real quick. Make some noise. Yes! Freshman class, welcome to Baltimore, for those who aren't from Baltimore. Well, I'm like the dope auntie on the block. Yeah, y'all could come to my bookstore, y'all can chill, y'all can engage, y'all can eat vegan food. How many vegans in here? Okay. Raise your hands, raise your hands. Where the vegans? Where the vegans at?
A couple. Let's see them.
Oh. I don't see that many hands. Well, our vegan food is like soul food, so it's like the ancestors in our hands. So it got taste. So you'll love to come visit around the corner. My Mama's Vegan is the name of it inside of Urban Reed's bookstore. What I do for the city, I just pour love into it. I used to do crime. I ran in a gang. I did all of those things. So my gift back to the city is to build up what I helped destroy. So that's what I'm doing. So I just take care of the city. So especially returning citizens. Because I used to be there, I know what it's like inside. I also got family members and friends and associates that's inside of prison. So I understand what they're going through in prison. I just need everybody to understand, just because someone in prison, that don't mean they did it. That does not mean they did it because they're there. And in these days and times, if somebody say they didn't do it, believe them. Go research that for them. If you can find a pen pal to write, they want to hear from you. They don't have family. A lot of them don't have family. They still human. So the media and the system portrays that that's where humans belong, but they wouldn't even put their animals, their dogs in there. They treat humans by day bad, but treat their dog at home like a human. So we just gotta look at things from a different angle and give it a 360 view on what life will be like if you switch roles with them. So that's my love to the city, is to encourage people to see things differently, to be sympathetic to a person in need, to look at a person who don't have a job or have less than you as another opportunity for you to help them get right. So that should be your gift to humankind, to the world. So that's my love language, is helping and uplifting individuals, especially those, the underdog, because they're not getting it. So that's my love language.
Thank you both so much for your comments. I also just wanted to let you all know that at the end of this panel, we are going to have a Q&A. So just as the panelists are talking, if there's anything that speaks to you or you want to take note of and ask a question about later, just keep that in mind, because we really do want this panel to be interactive. With that, I'm going to pass it to Dr. Harms, who will ask our first opening question.
Well, thank you so much, Hannah, for getting the conversation started. And I would say this was a very strong start. So thank you for the two of you. So I came to Baltimore and to Johns Hopkins about 6 years ago, like probably many of you not knowing much about the city. And I must admit that I embarked then on a very, very steep learning curve. Much of which was facilitated by the Center for Social Concern that put on this panel. So shout out again to the Center for Social Concern and Dr. Jens Blank-Stones and her team. Now, one of the things that I've learned here in Baltimore is that you need to be willing to learn and to unlearn. I'm a white faculty member at Johns Hopkins who's not from here. Like the majority of faculty members, I parachuted into Baltimore and then was confronted with our institution, the history of this institution, and just many communities in Baltimore. I learned that Baltimore contains multitudes. Ms. Simone, you already mentioned stigma and stereotypes about Baltimore, so I would like to invite both of you to share what Baltimore actually means to you.
Yeah, well, I'm born and raised here, so, I get to see some feedback going on. Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. Being born and raised here, I do get to experience what a lot of people call here two Baltimores. Some people, depending on where they grew up, they're less fortunate. They do experience a lot of, and I've experienced this, I'll speak for myself personally, my family. Me and my family have experienced some trauma as a result of that. We've had family members, unfortunately murdered in the streets of Baltimore. We've had people who are still incarcerated, as a result. So, you see that, and it's traumatizing, it's tragic, it hurts, it's not great. But then you see, like, the two Baltimores, there's, like, beautiful parks. There's so many museums. There's so many, amazing places to eat, and just great people. When you go about the city, you will meet the kindest, most warm-hearted, helpful people along the way. And I've experienced both these sides as a kid growing up. I feel like people always say, at least I hear it online, Baltimore has like this Southern hospitality with like an East Coast kind of aggression. Like we can be like, sometimes super nice, but if you cross us, like it could just be like, don't do that. So I think Baltimore to me is all of those things at once. We don't like to ignore the issues that are happening, but we also like to celebrate and uplift and build upon the beauty and the great things and the creative art scene and the so many just great, beautiful, fun, exciting things happening here. So it's all of those things at once to me.
Baltimore means a good time. Good time, okay? It's a good time here. Baltimore means to me my mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott. He's a good time. He's young, and he's doing things that has never been done in Baltimore City. So I'm excited for that, and you should be too, because this just might be your home one day. After school, you just might stay. A lot of you do. Baltimore is urban reads. It's the art scene. They got a big art scene, and they got a lot of murals. How many been around Baltimore City yet? Okay, so y'all seen a lot of murals on the wall, and so have you seen Graffiti Alley yet? All right, I know a lot of y'all gonna be down there. Where my skateboarders at? So it's just a lot. It's just a good time, and Baltimore big on seafood too. So if you big on seafood, you're gonna get some of the best seafood here. I'm not big on it, but I love it when my friends come to town and want me to take them to get some crabs, and I just gotta watch them eat those little scavengers. But
I'm offended.
But Baltimore, you take crabs from Baltimore, they'll lose their mind. So don't even try. So seafood, a good time, the restaurant scene, the harbor. It's just, it's fun. It's fun.
Fells Point, Fed Hill, Canton.
Yeah.
Those are the places to definitely
Pier
hang
6.
out. Yep.
Yeah,
Concert.
so just go out and have fun. Stay grouped up. Make sure your mothers know where y'all are and all that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
I don't play that.
Thank you guys both. I have a question for you directly, Simone. I know a big part of the food blogging experience is to tell people about lesser known, more under the radar businesses, many of which are family owned. I wanted you to tell us about a family-owned business in Baltimore's backstory, and then just like why family-owned businesses are such an essential part of preserving the culture of a city like Baltimore or a specific neighborhood.
Yeah, I can think of so many family-owned businesses. With Baltimore, and specifically family-owned businesses, I think in a way, it depends, because there are businesses and families who move here. I'm thinking of Charming Elephant. I don't know if many of you have had Lao cuisine, Laotian food. They are a beautiful family who decided to start the first Lao restaurant here. So they just did it self-funded. They rented a space and they started serving a smaller menu, and you kind of see them grow and develop and redecorate the space so it's more aesthetically pleasing. So I think it's always beautiful to see, a family self-funded kind of grow and become successful in the city. And then I also think of Baltimoreans who are born and raised here and were inspired in the culinary arts or in the business world. I met a guy 2 weeks ago. He was selling like snowballs. I don't know if you all have had a snowball yet. If you're not from Baltimore, it's like an ice treat, frozen treat, something you definitely have to try. But he was selling snowballs and hot dogs like just on the corner. He was a kid doing it, and someone discovered him and really liked the way he was selling his business. He did not have the license and stuff, so he technically should not have been selling. But this guy was a real estate developer, and he helped him get his proper licenses and permits to be able to sell his food at the Inner Harbor. So I don't know if you heard of Good Food 410. It's like a stall down at the Inner Harbor. That'll be a place you want to try. And I think of one of my friends, Sydney. She's a single mom. She brings her kids with her to her business. And she was first a Broadway actor, and then she had to move back, had her kids, and was a server at a restaurant. But she was great at making desserts. She is great at making desserts, makes some amazing desserts, amazing ice cream. And she recently opened her ice cream shop over on Bel Air Road called Sydney's Ice Creams, and she makes the most amazing flavors. Her kids are always with her, so it's just a place where she can generate income for her family as a single mom. And again, you start off small. She had a couple of flavors, and she would do pop-ups around the city, like pop-up at a small business, pop-up at a festival, and then she, with grant money and with that income, was able to open her first brick-and-mortar location. And just seeing so many, I could think of about 50 other situations like that, and working with small businesses and small communities in Baltimore. So they're really the backbone of the economy. They make our food scene diverse and exciting. And when you're working with those family-owned businesses, locally owned businesses, you get that vibe for Baltimore. You get that that love, the care of their business, and the care that people enjoy their business. So yeah, those are my personal experiences with working with small and family-owned businesses here.
Thank you so much, Simone. And Tia, I wanted to see if you wanted to comment about like why preserving culture and experience is important at Urban Read's bookstore.
Well, we about giving the truth. We about having books in the store that provide the most adequate information possible. So preserving is what we do. You know what I'm saying? We are very picky on how we create our books in the store. So the goal is to, because America is on the 7th and 9th grade reading level, and Black America is on the 3rd and 4th, it's very important that I make sure that my culture is reading, especially with these children. Because 1 in 5 Black men will see prison time before 18, it's all due to lack of education. So if we can get them reading it'd be less likely for them to go to prison when they get 18, because they'd be reading, they'd be learning, they'd be educated, they'd be here with y'all. That's the difference. So it's very important that we don't support banned books, that we give children the opportunity to understand what their ancestors done, that we keep history accurate to inform people so nobody will have a misstep on what happened and how. So preserving everything is what we do at Urban Reads.
Education, that's a wonderful segue. Thank you so much. Let us turn our attention to Johns Hopkins University, one of the best universities in the world. You all got in. This is a very exclusive institution, and that we all are here is actually a huge accomplishment in and of itself. This institution has not always been welcoming. And Johns Hopkins is one of the wealthiest institutions, wealthiest universities in the country and in the world, and as one of the largest private employers here in the state of Maryland, has a lot of power. And of course, with power comes responsibility. Now, the relationships between Johns Hopkins University as an institution and many communities in Baltimore have been, let's say, complex, if not fraught. You have been in the city longer than any of these students, so I would like to invite you to reflect on how you see Johns Hopkins University and what changes you have observed and what you hope for in the future.
That's always a complicated question, being from here. By the way, I wanted to say welcome and congratulations. This is a huge accomplishment, coming to Johns Hopkins as a student and getting to learn and grow at one of the best universities in the country. So that being said, growing up, Johns Hopkins for me, a lot of my family did not trust the university and definitely did not trust the hospital. There were, whisperings, I'll say, or people very vocally about never go to Johns Hopkins. They experiment, especially, it's not funny, they experiment on Black people. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I grew up hearing. So it just was like scary. You just never wanted to be in a situation where you had to go to the hospital at Johns Hopkins, and you just definitely had a distrust for the brand, to be quite honest. As I got older, especially in high school, I went to a private Catholic school here, and we started working with Johns Hopkins graduate students, were my mentors, and seeing a lot of work that Johns Hopkins does do in the community at certain points. Of course, as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, that that started, at least mentally for me, it started to mend some of those rumors. While I still believe what my family taught me and kind of listened to that, I also could kind of see where it's not all bad. So kind of how I said earlier, Baltimore for me can be all of those things at once. That's kind of how Johns Hopkins is for me personally. So while, I see all the good that's being done by the university and by the hospital and all of those things, there's Henrietta Lacks. I'm sure a lot of you have heard her name. And they're just situations and things that I've heard growing up that kind of make it, just not openly trustworthy. So be proud of being a student here. But just realize, all I want to say is just realize not everyone you'll run into has that exact same relationship, has that exact same excitement. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, man. Everything she said. Growing up, hearing things about Hopkins, the racial situations, them with Hopkins owning slaves and different situations, and selling drugs down there and near the hospital, you are asked one of the people down there that get high, and they'll tell you, don't even walk past Hopkins Hospital at 2, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because you'll hear noises. You'll hear noises coming from the hospital. And those were ghosts, hence the book, The Ghosts of John Hopkins. So they are, everything, it's some good and bad in everything, right? I just want you guys to be full aware of your surroundings, the people you come in contact with, because like she said, like Simone said, everyone is not going to be feeling positive about your choice. And that's just the stigma that Hopkins has left on the city. And as I've grown up, and especially when I got my bookstore, and I was able to see, even when I got my bookstore, it was people telling me, don't mess with Hopkins. They police, they come over here, they start trouble, they lock people up, and they know that I'm the defund the police type chick, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, nah, ain't nobody coming over here doing that. But instead, I got the call, somebody from Hopkins came over to work with me. And then I started seeing and being involved with Hopkins. And then I started seeing the things that they're doing to try to make change with race relations and DEI and prison involvement and coming to get people like me who could speak about prison reform and make change and come and get people like me to involve themselves into the community further, into my community, because I can get them in. They can't. So I see the good that John Hopkins is trying to do, and I see that when we heard about the experiences of black bodies at John Hopkins, we found out it was true through Henrietta Lack's story. So I appreciate Hopkins for making it better and giving out awards in her name with monetary donations attached to it. So there's some good in a lot of people, and there's also some bad. Just see how much the good outweighs the bad, you know? So that's it.
Thank you guys so much. And I just want to say before our last question, I mean, you guys sitting here today are a big part of what can be in terms of Johns Hopkins' relationship with Baltimore City. So just keep that in mind as you take your 4 years here. So our last question is sort of aimed at you all. So as you know, we have the unique opportunity here to help incoming students better understand Baltimore and their own role here in the city. Do you have a few words of advice for students who have just arrived in Baltimore at Hopkins?
Honestly, my words of advice are to not be dismissive. If you get into the city and realize, oh, you went to 1 or 2 things that are not your taste, I'm sure there is absolutely something for you to enjoy. Like, I can almost guarantee it. We said earlier some of the neighborhoods that people your age will hang out in. I mean, I hang out in them too, but I'm, generalizing here. Federal Hill, Canton, Fells Point, there are places that have a lot of good restaurants, a lot of museums. Mount Vernon is another neighborhood. So I would say my advice would be to just enjoy it, to have fun, to really take advantage of the small businesses and the culture here, like to enjoy them, to visit them, to support them, because that's where you'll find community. People who are from here or who have lived here for an extended period of time, it's a small town really, so they are very connected. I always say there's like 1 or 2 degrees of separation here in Baltimore. Like, everybody knows everybody. So if you're looking for something to do, something that's specifically your taste, I would just start asking around, and somebody could definitely give you that advice. But enjoy the small businesses, have fun, get into the culture, and I think you'll enjoy it. And be safe. Do the right thing, be safe, have fun.
All right, get your cell phones out. I'm gonna give y'all an Instagram that you can find out everything about Baltimore. Visit Baltimore is the Instagram. You will find out all the events, all the other pages you need to follow from that. You can follow Baltimore Magazine. Like, these are the activities and the events going on around Baltimore. And you can follow Urban Reed's Bookstore.
And Charm City Table, since we're plugging Instagrams.
You can follow Urban Reed's Bookstore. Follow Charm City Table. Stay away from the chicken boxes. Stay away from the club music. What else?
Definitely go to Lexington Market and get a chicken box. Definitely get some seafood and some crabs.
Chicken boxes and halves is down here in real time, okay? I'm telling you, stay away from the mumbo sauce. This is all the stuff I dislike, okay? Just don't mind me.
The Baltimore State mumbo sauce is DC, but,
But Baltimore is trying to take it over, girl.
I know. They have mumbo sauce everywhere now.
Yes. So, listen, it is a DC thing. Go-go music is a DC thing. DC don't think they DMV.
Oh, yeah. Baltimore is not the DMV. You can't go around saying that.
Yes.
People will shut you down real fast.
Yeah. What else? Take the MARC train to DC for a good time for a day. It's 45 minutes.
And it's what, only $8, $9?
$8, $9.
One way.
Go to DC. For $50, you'll be good. What else? Got any more entertainment updates?
Every Saturday, Waverly, you can go to the farmer's market.
Oh, yes. Waverly Farmers Market. You might catch me.
I know. That's my farmer's market. There's also a Sunday farmer's market under the 83 bridge to enjoy.
Yes, the Waverly Farmers Market is good, too.
Ooh, the Asian Food Festival. Every third Saturday of the month, there's an Asian street food festival that's at the Inner Harbor. That's really cool. It's free to attend, and then you buy the food and stuff. But they have businesses come down from New York. They have the small Asian businesses here come. So it's really big and really collaborative, and the food's so good and so much fun.
Y'all just missed my annual youth summit, so y'all be here next year. It's a time where y'all could come and hang out with the kids and get involved. But also, you got the book festival around the corner with Waverly, where my bookstore is and everything. That's September the 28th and 29th. September 28th and 29th. So if y'all book people, y'all could come around both days to the festival, meet authors, vendors, bookstore owners, and all of that stuff. It's fun. It's a lot of stuff. Just follow Urban Reads and follow those pages, though, I gave you, and you'll keep up. You'll keep up.
Thank you, guys.
That was plenty.
Oh, can I go live with y'all real quick on Instagram? Y'all gonna go live with me? Huh? Come on, let's go live. Y'all gonna go live with me? Y'all gonna make some noise? Huh? Come on, stand up, y'all. Come on. Come on, let's go. We got some music or something? We got some music, we can put some music on?
I have mine in 0.5. I'm gonna just get her.
We're going to do a 0.5 after as well.
All right, well, let's do it now. Can you send it to me? Yeah, let's do it. Oh, come on. Now listen, on the count of 3, I want y'all all to say, what y'all graduating, 2028? Yeah, say that. Say, class of 2028, all right? All right. On the count of 3, we're here at John Hopkins University, new student orientation, the class of 2028. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, 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 yes. Listen, I'm going to see y'all in 4 years, right? I'm going to see y'all in 4 years? I don't like it. I don't like it. Am I going to see y'all in 4 years? Let's go.
All right, thank you, everyone. At this point, we're going to open up questions for Q&A. So at the end of each row on the 3 sides, there's a mic. If anyone has questions they want to ask either of the panelists, just come forward to the mic and we'll be happy to answer your question.
Hello.
You might have to cut it on.
That might be a good idea.
Cut it on.
Oh.
Cut it on. Right here in the middle.
We're good,
Cut it on.
yeah.
Okay,
You
let's
wanna go
start
first?
on the end right here.
Okay, sounds good. Miss Hamilton, I found your story very impressive, and a lot of the things you said were very interesting to me. Kind of further on what you talked about kind of mending the relationships between Hopkins and the Baltimore community. You said you've liked a lot of what we've done as a community already. What do you think Hopkins can do further to make amends and regain the trust of the Baltimore City community?
I think funding more projects that are community-based, that are prison-based, and I'm currently working with some people to do just that. I'm trying to bridge the gap between Hopkins and the prison for college. So I'm trying to see how I can make that happen in bringing college to the prison, but also when they get home, coming to Hopkins.
So like programs for incarcerated individuals, support, that kind of thing?
So where they could get a degree.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you.
And free education for them as well when they come home. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question for you as well, Ms. Tia. I was curious, what was your turning point from when you went from your life of crime to your life of doing the exact opposite? Like, was it something more gradual, or was it like you had an instant where you like decided to stop doing that and instead start like helping
Hold
the
on,
community?
hold on. What's wrong, y'all? He talking. Can you start over? I couldn't.
Yes, so you talked earlier about how you said you were involved in gangs, right? And you said you were involved in that when you were younger, and now you're helping the community and doing all these awesome things. I was just curious, was there a turning point at some point of your life, and what was that like, or was it a more gradual thing?
Yeah, it was a turning point. I ended up getting arrested for attempted murder and a kidnapping on 2 separate times. I got arrested for the kidnapping first. I had a bail. I came home. And then 3 months later, I ended up getting locked up for attempt murder. And when I was on the run for a month, and then I turned myself in. And they kept me. I had a no bail. So I was in there. That gave me time to myself to think on how I'm gonna do this. So I ended up with a paid attorney who did his job, and he was a Jewish lawyer. That's my guy to this day. To this day, we talk. I could call him right now, and he'll answer. And he got me out, and he the same age as me. And when I was in there, I said, Lord, you get me out of this. I won't sell another pound, another brick, and I'll drop my flag. I came home, and I did just that. So that was my turning point. I kept my promise.
Thank you for sharing.
Never mind. Sorry, I thought there was someone else. I want to be involved, but when I say I want to be involved, I don't mean I want to be involved to feel good about myself. I want to be involved to make an actual impact in the Baltimore community. But I am not from Baltimore, I'm from Texas. I wanted to know, are there any pitfalls or anything that you think someone who is not from the Baltimore area should be aware of when they're trying to volunteer, get involved, and try to make a change within Baltimore?
So that's a two-part question. Should you be, anything you should be aware of and how you can get involved, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Be aware of everything. Don't ever not be aware. Be aware of people around you, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of where you eat, what's going on, and hit the reviews. Hit the reviews on everywhere y'all trying to go, hit the reviews. They're gonna read at least 20 of them. They're gonna reveal what type of environment you walking into. There are a lot of places that's stranger danger, and I'm sure your parents done taught you that. Stranger danger, just don't go. Make sure you checking those Lyft and Uber tags. Make sure you putting passwords. Make sure your parents or a guardian or a brother or sister have your location at all times. If something was to happen to you, they will need to know where to go. So just be alert, be aware of everything going on. You out of town. And you don't ever want to get it misconstrued or messed up with everybody being friendly because you from the South. It is not friendly in Baltimore. And that's just real. So, how to get involved? It's a lot of ways you can get involved. Take down my Instagram and email me. The email is on the Instagram. And I can email you a list of organizations on how you could get involved. And then let me know what type of work you're trying to be involved in. And I can connect you.
I'll also add this in terms of what to be aware of. As kind of we touched on before, Johns Hopkins as a name, it has connotations that come with it, right? When you enter Baltimore communities, even if you're just volunteering or whatever ways that you may be engaging, right? Just be aware of that and try to come as you are and come to learn. Don't come to say, I'm here to do it this way, right? There's people who have been doing this, who've been doing work in Baltimore for centuries, right? So really taking your place and following those who have been doing that work, right? And then to get involved, I mean, follow Hopkins CSC on Instagram. Yeah.
I was going to say the exact same thing. So when you get into these places, whatever you do decide, take it as an opportunity to learn and listen instead of imposing necessarily your views. Because the organization you're going to volunteer for, they already have a mission, they already have things in place, they have people who have worked there forever. But yeah, there's so many organizations in Baltimore that are desperately looking for volunteers. So yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to find those opportunities immediately.
He could join the social department, right? With the students, Jasmine, he can join that, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, is this on? Yeah. I was just wondering about, so you were saying that Hopkins has kind of like a negative reputation in the Baltimore community, and that like makes sense because there's, you know, a huge history of hospitals and medicine just doing messed up things to black people, you know, the Tuskegee experiments, the syphilis experiments, and the forced sterilizations, and the list goes on. But I was wondering is there like a definitive experiment or action that Hopkins took to gain this reputation? Like with, say, is this cutting out?
Could you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying, is there like a definitive action, experiment, or policy that Johns Hopkins implemented in the past that started this reputation? Or is it just because of the larger reputation of the medical community for doing such atrocious things to black bodies?
All of that.
Right, all both.
Both.
Yeah.
All of that. From the things that they done, you know, Hopkins himself is a man. John Hopkins is a human, was a human. So, and he was a part of the slave trade, like he owned slaves and stuff like that. So that reputation comes with you and it precedes itself. And then when he started getting in the medical field, they were doing things specifically to Native and Black bodies. If you can save me, save me. Just don't let me die because you want my organs or you want to experiment on me.
So I would do a Google search. It's
Yeah,
really a
it's
lot.
extensive.
It really is a lot of.
It's a lot of
specifics.
books on it and everything.
Yeah, no, I looked into the history of like
Oh.
experiments on black people that have occurred throughout the nation, and like, you know, the syphilis experiments and the grave robbing in the late 1800s and all that. But I was having trouble finding anything specifically about Hopkins as a university prior to Henrietta Lacks. So I was just wondering if there was like a well-known event that might like define Hopkins' reputation, or if it's more of a gradual thing because Hopkins was a slave owner and all of these things over time.
I would say,
It's
you know,
some books.
it's a there's like, I feel like there's a difference sometimes between like, you know, written documents and then actually living in an environment and knowing people who went to Johns Hopkins and didn't come back out, and having circumstance after circumstance, generation after generation of hearing those things happen, those happening to actual family members. So I would argue that most Black families in Baltimore do have an actual family story of knowing that their family members were experimented on, their organs harvested. Like, you can ask people and they'll have a specific anecdotal story relevant to their family. I don't think there's some one major event. I think it's like a series of like hundreds, if not thousands, of little circumstances. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
got it. That makes a ton of sense. Thanks for answering my question. It's a complicated lived experience over many decades of abuse that led to the reputation
Correct.
rather than one central experiment or action.
Correct.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Hannah, can I have that? Can I have that? As you can tell, the students are taking full advantage of your expertise here in Baltimore, and are very much interested in education and educating themselves about Baltimore and the different experiences here in Baltimore. So we're absolutely honored to have had you here. We're so grateful for your transparency and speaking with us honestly, and for just coming out here and being with us and sharing the same space. So a round of applause for our wonderful panelists, please.
Thank you.
Hannah, to you too, thank you so much for joining me in moderating this conversation. Thank you to the Center for Social Concern again for actually hosting us, and to all of you for listening, thinking, reflecting, engaging, and just have courage for who just asked about the projects and the research. Just come talk to me afterwards. I am a historian, okay? I got plenty of literature recommendations for you. All of you, you're still welcome to come speak with us afterwards. But with that, I am going to turn it over to Dr. Blinks-Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give another round of applause for this amazing panel. In the AV station, can you put the yellow slide that has the QR code with the red door, please? This discussion reminds me of an epithet that I've heard so many times. There's so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us, till it hardly behooves any of us to talk about the rest of us. I want to extend that. This is not a discussion that, oh, Hopkins is this way and Baltimore is that way. Hopkins is a part of Baltimore, and I really appreciate the panelists who helped really draw out some of those points for us and ways that can help us to show up in the city with the best of us. So thank you all for engaging. Thank you for your excellent questions. One that I want to make sure you have some information on is how you can engage. What does this mean for your own involvement in the city of Baltimore? There are a few things. You've seen a QR code a few times for Democracy Day, which is this Thursday. All of you are expected to be there. We are excited about it. We hope you are excited about it. It's going to be an action-packed day where you can learn about what it means to actually engage as a resident, as a citizen, as a person who cares about our society. So make sure that you're there and full of energy and ready for a great day, and a lot of good food from the city. Also, you will have community asset walks this year. And these walks, during the walks, you'll be provided with a map that shows you all of the places that are an easy walk from the Hopkins campus. that will be given to, so don't miss it, like your RAs and your first-year mentors will be leading these walks, and they'll take place starting pretty much immediately through the month of October. Make sure you go on one. You'll get to see a lot of the places that were talked about for yourselves, and you'll get a map that you can use whenever you need to re-engage in the city and figure out where to go. There are engagement opportunities with the Center for Social Concern. We have roughly 10 programs that run throughout the year that are often cohorts where you can join and be a part of a community of learners and scholars who are doing community engaged work. There are also a lot of one-off events that we're going to be supporting throughout the year, and we hope to see you come out. So go ahead and scan the QR code and sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter does not just have our news. We share the news of our partner organizations, so you'll see their information there as well. You'll have weekend events, you'll have ways to volunteer, so on and so forth. And finally, engage with Hopkins Votes. This is a major election year. It's a national election year, and Hopkins Votes should be on all of your radars. Even if you yourself, for a variety of reasons, may not be able to vote, it's still important that you know the issues. It's still important that you are lifting your voice, that you're talking to your peers, to your families, and that you're involved in this process. So thank you so much in advance for what I know is going to be an amazing year of engagement with Hopkins students in the city of Baltimore, and I'd like to invite up Rex Snyder to give a few closing remarks. Panelists, we can go ahead and leave. Thank you all.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Rex Snyder. I'm the Acting Senior Director for Public Safety at Johns Hopkins. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about our services and what we offer for the campus community. And one of the first things I'd like to go over is, if you've been here for just a few days, chances are you have seen an array of different security personnel, different uniforms, different colors, whatever it might be. And I'd like to take an opportunity to explain exactly what each one of these people do for you. As you see all the way to the, there we go, all the way to the right, we have our campus police officers. They patrol both on and off campus. They wear the navy blue uniform. You'll see them in the Charles Village community, along with on campus grounds over towards Hamden. We'll talk about their patrol area here in just a little bit. We also have our campus security officers. They're another layer. They're in the light blue shirt. You'll primarily see them on campus and in your residential facilities. I'm going to skip over one to the yellow uniform. The yellow uniform is our Allied Universal officers. They are contractual security that work for Hopkins on a 24/7 basis, both on and off campus. And you'll see them quite often in the campus community, intersections, sidewalks, thoroughfares, things like that. They are eyes and ears for us. We equip them with a radio so they can keep us advised of any incidents that might be happening so that our officers can respond to it. And our fourth and final layer is our off-duty Baltimore police and sheriff's deputies. The police officers, he's the one in the center there, wears an all-blue uniform, and the sheriff's deputy there on the end has a tan shirt and brown pants. This security contingent at any time of the day is more than 50 officers working for your protection throughout the campus community. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That staffing does not change on weekends, during the night, during summer break, or during winter break. It stays the same. It's constant. And it's that team of officers that is providing protective services for you, but also any type of customer services. And we'll talk about that here in just a couple moments. You will definitely see our officers in this little white, I know it's not cool at all, let's face it, that's not a cool looking vehicle, but it's got that green bar light on there, and it's supposed to be obvious. It's supposed to be high visibility to stick out for you so that you can see them. And we're going to talk a little bit about them, because if you see that vehicle, doesn't matter what you might need, directions, maybe a ride because you just don't feel like walking. All you have to do is flag them down, show them your J card. They're going to give you a ride to wherever you need to go within our patrol area, which I'm going to show you here in a moment. They're not going to ask where you're coming from. It's none of their concern. Their concern is getting you to where you want to go safely. So remember that vehicle, please. One of the things I like to talk about with our relationships for the Public Safety Department is our relationships with the JHU Behavioral Health Crisis Support Team, BHCST. Our officers, we have officers on each one of our patrol shifts that have been professionally trained in crisis response for someone who's going through a behavioral or mental crisis, going through a difficult time. College can be a lot of pressure. And when an officer responds, they need to have the skills and the abilities to help someone who's going through a crisis. So when our officers arrive, they've been through this specialized training in helping someone and giving them assistance, while we are transporting a clinician to the location as well to relieve the officer because they have more in-depth abilities and skills. But that's a relationship that exists now, and I know that students take advantage of it, and we have other colleges and universities that have looked at this relationship, this partnership that we have with BHCST to begin their own partnerships in their own universities when it comes to providing behavioral and mental health assistance to students, faculty, and staff. As far as our patrol boundaries go, where you will find our officers patrolling, we go as far north as University Parkway, and we go as far east as Able Avenue and then to Guilford when Able Avenue stops. We go as far south as 27th Street, and we go as far west as Remington Avenue and San Martin Drive. In fact, our office is located at 3001 Remington Avenue. It's right across the street from Charm City Cakes, if you've seen them on TV before. But you can stop by our offices. We have folks stop by all the time because that's where the lost and found section is. If you lose something and you want to see if it's been recovered, you can stop by at our front desk and we'll take care and see if we have it in our inventory or if our officers are doing what they can to try to find it. When we talk about general safety, I'm going to take a line from the previous presentation that was up here when you were told, be aware of what's going on around you all the time. And you should be. You're in an urban environment, and you should be paying attention to everything. When you're in an urban environment, there's a lot more vehicles. There's emergency vehicles, there's public transportation, there's these scooters that we see now, you name it. You could see so many different things in an urban environment, but knowing what's going on around you and how things change. It's about being safe. Familiarizing yourself with the entire campus community and trying to choose well-lit and well-traveled areas when you're walking. That's always a good idea. Never allowing strangers to tailgate when entering your dorm or other residential buildings or other secure facilities. Notice I said strangers. If you know that it's someone that lives in your building, you know them, that's different. But if there's someone you don't recognize them, don't let them follow you in. If they belong in the building, they too have access, and that's really important. And we also try to stress to not wear earbuds or headphones when you're out on the street, on the sidewalks. You have two senses that keep you safe. It's your ability to see and your ability to hear. Again, a lot more vehicles than you would think, especially if you're not accustomed to an urban environment. So being able to hear is just as important as being able to see. You can check out our website. It's publicsafety.jhu.edu. There's plenty of tips and suggestions in there for residential safety, pedestrian safety, cell phone safety, even dating safety. There's all kinds of stuff in there for you. You can find it on our website. And one thing we always try to promote is the Live Safe app. I have it on my phone, and a lot of the folks that I work with, they have it as well, because you can communicate with public safety in real time. You can request security escorts. You can even engage the Safe Walk feature, which allows someone to virtually walk with you when you're out and about. And you can download it from the App Store or Google Play. You can also have an officer from our department escort you, whether it's by vehicle or on foot, by just reaching out and give us a call. You can call us or you can reach out on the Live Safe app, and we're happy to do that for you. We had 834 CCTV cameras as of a couple weeks ago, but we had a bad storm last weekend that knocked a few of them out with trees falling. So we have 800 plus right now is what we're labeled as. This is our greatest technological tool that we have because we have them in intersections, we have them outside buildings. In some buildings, we have them inside. but this really helps our communication staff and our officers with being able to not only prevent and minimize crime, but also respond to any incidents in which they need to. We also have 117 emergency blue light call stations. They're posted throughout the college, the campus community. And the way that they have been posted, if it's dark out, if it's night, and you are at one of these emergency blue light stations, you should be able to see another blue light in the distance somewhere. And that's the way that they've been configured and the way that they've been positioned. If you're out walking about at night and you don't feel safe for one reason or another, you feel like someone might be following you, they're getting too close, whatever it might be, if you pull this phone out, that's not necessarily going to, I guess, scare away someone who's trying to maybe take advantage of someone else. But if you approach one of these blue light stations and you press that red button, the alarm activates, the light starts flashing, and you are automatically connected with our communications center, with a call taker who has your location already because all of the blue light stations are on GPS. And they're going to talk to you to find out what's going on. But at the same time, there's another dispatcher in that communications center that is sending an officer to your location to assist you. And I've heard in the past some questions, well, what if it turns out to be nothing? What if the person didn't mean me any harm? They were looking for a lost dog or something like that. Well, we hope that's the case. We hope that they meant you no harm. And we come out, we reset the station, and we make sure that you get on your way, that you're able to get back to wherever you're headed to or whatever we can do to serve you. But these are for your use. Please use them if you ever feel unsafe. One thing I would like to reiterate at the end here and talk about is that we work for you. We are customer service oriented. We're not enforcement oriented. We are striving each and every day to meet the needs of our campus community in whatever way that we can. That goes well outside the realm of law enforcement. It's public service and it's public safety. So please know that we work for you, we serve you. That's it. I'm not nearly as dynamic as the other group. See? All good? Thank you again. Have a good one. Take care.